Got it?
Okay, there we go.
All right. Count me
All
in.
right, Gary, you ready to start the show?
Yep, I am.
And here we go. In 3, 2, 1, we're on the air.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gary and Kenny Show. I'm Gary Kroger in Waterloo, Iowa, and I am joined by Kenneth Seisler in Calabasas, California. How is that?
That was good. I like it when you introduce me. Yeah, it's about a lot faster instead of having that pause and, scat.
Yeah. May I comment that I think you look casually handsome today?
Yeah, I wasn't going for formal handsome.
Well, you can't be formal handsome in a hoodie.
Right. Yeah. No,
it looks very nice.
It's like every other day out in California. It's a casual day.
Yeah. What do you? I mean, I lived there. I basically dress now with a jacket the same way I dressed in California. I wear jeans, but I still and always put on a jacket even in California just to go out to a nice restaurant.
Yeah, it's no longer necessary. It's not necessary. It's difficult to maintain any kind of, decorum as far as fashion is concerned because people, it's like the more casual they are, it's almost like the cooler they are. I mean, people going into restaurants wearing their pajamas and their slippers. It's like,
well, that's Larry Charles. Did you ever work with Larry Charles?
Yeah, no, I never did, but yeah,
he would come to work in his pajamas.
Yeah.
But you go to a nice restaurant, don't people still put on a jacket like the way I'm looking right now?
No, right now the big thing is very expensive casual clothes. So in other words, a t-shirt would be casual, but just a regular t-shirt. But if it's manufactured by some of these hip new people, I think one's called like Vori or something like that. And it's people, then it's a $200 t-shirt. And so people know, you're in an expensive restaurant, but you're wearing a big brand name.
Wouldn't it be easy to knock off these labels though, unless people are literally coming up to you and looking at the label? There's a market for us right there. Knock off cheap.
Isn't that the same thing with jewelry?
Well, sure it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's an opportunity for us to make some money. Let's just sell our old t-shirts, that look like upscale t-shirts.
As a matter of fact, because I have a closet full of all my MTV t-shirts, and now it's become very kind of cool and hip to wear kind of like those old retro people wearing like the Rolling Stones t-shirts or the, whatever.
I have my SNL t-shirts.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I gave my oldest SNL t-shirt that I mowed the lawn in, it has holes in it, to an SNL fan who has a podcast.
Oh my goodness.
And he put it under glass in his SNL museum. So my sweaty old t-shirt is part of a personal Saturday Night Live museum.
I have another t-shirt story.
Okay. Who knew? Back when I was working at MTV, I believe the year was 1986, and I believe it might have been the 200th anniversary of the United States. Is that right? Okay.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Anyhow, MTV had a big... Well,
1776,
and then it was, I don't know. It was like 1986.
Okay, so it's the 210 year anniversary.
Okay, and they had a big party. They had a big party on a boat for MTV. It was a, rocking July 4th weekend. We were all in the New York Harbor. They got this big boat. They got celebrities. Don Johnson was on the boat. It was like the place, to be on that boat. Then night fireworks. So it was pretty cool. My wife was pregnant with my daughter, and that was July 4th, and my daughter was born on July 11th. So she was just like 6 days before my daughter was born. My wife is on the boat with me. She's pregnant, and she's wearing just a white t-shirt.
Okay.
And with her is Jan Hunter, and Alan Hunter.
Yes,
she's also pregnant. Both our kids were born about the same time.
Are they drinking?
No.
Oh, well, I'm just asking.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I would have...
Is that where you thought the story was going to go? Yeah, they got totally wasted. Next thing you know, Don Johnson is all over them.
Right. Well, that's where I wanted this to go, but go ahead.
It's not going there. So, coming up on the gangway, is that what it's called when you get on the boat? A gangway?
Yeah, I guess a gangway. Yeah, yes. If it's the plank, it's for something very, very different.
I think you
don't want to walk the plank.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but it's the gangway.
Anyhow, coming up the gangway was Andy Warhol.
Andy. He was still alive then?
Yeah, apparently.
or maybe not.
I mean, he was kind of a ghost. So yeah, he was very white.
Andy Warhol.
Andy Warhol comes up. He's wearing all white, by the way. He sees Jan and my wife standing there, both obviously pregnant, both wearing t-shirts. He walks over, takes a marker, and signs it with love, Andy Warhol, on both of those T-shirts.
God, I hope you were smart enough to keep that.
I did. I kept it for many years just in the closet. I didn't do anything with it,
Yeah.
but I knew that I should do something with it just to preserve it.
Yeah.
Anyhow, my wonderful, wonderful daughter-in-law, Jackie, as a gift for us, she had it preserved and put into a frame.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's now on our bathroom, and it's very cool. You walk in there, and it
Oh,
says,
that's cool.
With love, Andy Warhol.
I thought this was going to be a story where your son needed a T-shirt. He went and played ball, and then he washed it, and it was gone.
Well,
this is a nice story.
Yeah, this is a
well, it's a nice story. It's not as entertaining, but it's a very good story. It has a very happy ending.
Oh,
it would have been more entertaining.
If you want to hear the rest of the story, it actually didn't work out that good. So, but I don't want to go there.
No, don't go there. I have a couple things burning on my mind, and if this goes
thank goodness, that's where it's burning.
Speaking of on your mind, you have a what happened to your head?
Yeah, I had to disassemble a piece of patio furniture yesterday, and somehow I got clunked. I always get clunked. I'm terrible around the house.
Apparently. Well, how do you get? I mean,
I'll tell you how. It should be very self-evident to any other human being that when you're unscrewing something, that when the pieces separate, one of them will fall down. It would have cured most. Me, I was just like undoing it. It's on top, and then one of the metal pieces fell down.
So in your mind, you were on the International Space Station. It's just going to float rather than take gravity into consideration, right?
I wish I had put that much thought into it, Gary, but I think I was just humming.
Well, speaking of the gravity of it, let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm here.
And this is about me.
Again.
I think I disappoint people a lot.
No, you don't. You always say that. You always put yourself down, and everybody that comes on the show, they go, "Oh, Gary is such a great guy. We love Gary."
Yeah. People who know me and like me, yeah, sure. But I'm talking about people like on Facebook that become my friends, and I don't really know them, but they gravitate toward me because I'm a good progressive, right? I put things out there. Mm-hmm. I keep conversations going. I'm very honest. Right. I believe.
Right. Well, you're a procrastinator. You stir
I'm the opposite of a. That's not a procrastinator.
I'm sorry, that's the wrong word. What's the word when you're when you stir something? A provocateur.
Provocateur. Yes, I knew there was a P.
Yeah, you're a provocateur.
The other day, I posted a picture of Mel Gibson. Now, I'm a huge Mel Gibson fan. And when he went into his drunken anti-Semitic rant and then this recording of cursing at his girlfriend, I was very, very disappointed in the man. I mean, we all were. And then he'd go on to talk shows. And of course, a journalist would want to say, hey, let's talk about that. And then he'd get mad and he'd walk off the show. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Well, I just turned 65 years old. So Mel and I are essentially the same age. And I posted a picture of Mel trying to smile, but I just see the anger behind him. And it just, I made the observation that it aged him. And I put a picture of me smiling, thinking, hey, this is what you look like when you're happy. And this is what you look like when you're not. We're the same age. And this woman comes on, she calls me a narcissist. She says how disappointed she was in me. She believed in my moral compass. And I take that very personally when somebody.
When it comes from your mother, Gary, yes.
Right. But when
wasn't that from your mother?
You made a joke. See, I take it so seriously. Yes. You made a joke.
Yes. When your mom my mother has told me I've been a disappointment for years. So that's nothing new. But go ahead.
But then it happened again the other day. I posted a picture. This right-wing painter, and maybe you saw this, posts these paintings of Jesus behind Trump guiding his hand, and they did the Trump and Lincoln and Kennedy and Reagan all in military gear with AR-15s, saying these are the champions of American justice and equality and all these. And I said, this represents mental illness. And a woman comes on and said, Gary, I believed in you. You disappoint me. Dissociative disorder is about children who were traumatized and veterans who, have PTSD. And again, she said, I'm so disappointed in you. Well, that's my question. Am I disappointing?
How well do you know this woman?
Well, I don't know them at all, but
it could be like it could be an FBI agent who's trying to get you.
It could be somebody with a dissociative disorder.
You have no idea, right?
Who's a narcissist.
Yeah.
But no, the point is that they say we thought of you as this, but you proved to be this. And I'm right. and I very carefully, I don't know, conduct myself, I think, as someone with a moral code and responsibility. And so I wonder, what is it that causes me maybe to delve into areas that are controversial like that?
Wait, let me get this straight. So the question is, what makes you want to be a provocateur?
Yeah, I guess that's it. And should I even care about these criticisms? Because they do sort of contradict.
Well, if you're going
Gary
to be,
is
yes,
Jesus.
you have to, but you're really going to have to know that once you put yourself in that arena, that, you're going to be open for that. If you don't want to, or don't feel as though you like to get those kind of pushback, then you shouldn't go in that arena in the first time. But part of the responsibility of being a provocateur is taking
is
the
that
responsibility that people are going, yes, you're going to provoke people who have different opinions.
Yeah. Well, I hate, for me, and then we can close the chapter on this, but I take it personally. And it's like, I hate the thought that I hurt anybody or insulted anybody, or is she right? I have insulted children who were sexually abused.
That's the territory that you are living in. So
and I try to be funny too. I do look for humor at times,
Listen, it's hard. I know it's hard to believe, it's hard to fathom, but there are some people that have actually disagreed with me on certain things that I have said. And I've moved on. You just got to move on.
You just got to move on.
And I'll tell you this, that I don't know if somebody taught me or I thought of it myself, was the idea that I have so many days. Every day is my day. Why I would allow another human being who I have nothing to do with, who doesn't know me, just ruin my day. There's a good chance I'm going to ruin my day on my own.
Yeah, if you're fixing furniture, for example, gravity ruins your day.
Right, something will ruin me. I'm okay with that, but the idea that some jerk, which I experienced yesterday, I did run into a jerk. He didn't ruin my day. It was just, I don't care, because I don't want him to be in charge of my day.
We've talked about a satellite program, On the Couch with Kenny, or something like that. You're very good. You're very good at, I love making fun of you because you do things like fix furniture over your head and run out of, places where you can't use the bathroom. I mean, there's Kenny stories that abound, but you are a very wise man. You abound. Yes. Yeah, I provoke, you abound. You are very wise. You're very wise.
Well, that's what I think that's what happens. They say as you get older and older, we get wiser and wiser. So you could, how old are you now?
I'm 65 in a week.
No, you're moderately wise. When you get to my age,
you'll
start to graduate.
You're 66?
I'm 67.
Oh, 67. So in these next 2 years will be this
metamorphosis
of
talk to
this
me when
Buddha-like wisdom.
You talk to me when I'm 75. I'm going to give you some wisdom. And
then it's a parabola because it's got to be a downward slope where you become a little, or at least your scope of wisdom diminishes.
However, my first piece of wisdom would be don't get old.
Oh,
because the reality is, whereas you have certain cultures that look at old people and say they have wisdom and they should be respected and let's hear them out. I certainly don't think that's true in our culture. Now, I don't know in European cultures. I think in Italy, people may have respect for the elderly.
Well,
I don't think it's true here.
They have respect in a spare bedroom for the elderly. I mean, in any other culture here, mom and dad, they live with you. Well, hey, at the risk of sounding like we're narcissistic, Kenny, you look great. I think the fact that you are able to cope with stress and things. I mean, ultimately, I said that I'm upset by these things, but I have a pretty nice life. And I think I wear it well. I think that we're aging well. Yeah, of course, it's genetics, of course, blah, 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 blah. I do think managing your stress, managing your anger, maximizing your joy.
Well, for me, and I've talked about it before, swimming is my big blue. That is so good for my mental health. It's unbelievable. I would show a picture. People in the podcast won't see it, but I have a picture here of my grandfather. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but this is the size of the family.
Well, okay. Who's that in the lower left?
Okay. I don't know if that's my dad.
Okay.
That's his sister, Eleanor.
Sister, good
And
looking.
that's Jack. By the way,
Yeah.
that's me there.
That's you?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, you were a dark-haired kid?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. You don't remember?
Well, those were the days of black and white.
Well, yeah, but you have dark hair and you've always been blonde or or gray.
Believe me, people change.
I don't
Gary.
see I understand people change.
I don't fit in that shirt anymore either.
What?
Okay, can we go back to
Okay, yeah, let's go back.
Okay,
all right, there's Grandpa.
This is my grandmother and my grandfather. See my grandfather?
Yes.
Okay. How old do you think he is in that picture?
Well, he looks like a grandfather, so I'm going to say he's 82.
82.
Did I give the wrong direction answer? You want me to say he looks like he's 63?
He was 56.
What was he?
56.
Oh my.
Back in those days, 56 was old. People died when they were in their 60s.
Well,
which is what happened to him. I think he died at 59.
For example, I'm a Disney freak, right? I'm 65 years old. You know how old Walt Disney was when he died? 65 years old. You look at him even 10 years earlier.
Exactly.
He looked like Grandpa.
Exactly.
When he died, I thought an old man died.
Yep. Yeah,
and I look at him now, it's like, I don't look like that.
No, we are definitely a better looking. We're going to be more preserved. So I do think we're probably going to live. The idea of us living into our hundreds is quite plausible.
It's possible. The preservatives and the Twinkies, maybe there was some positive value there. The things that we eat.
I think lifestyle for some of us, nevertheless. But let's talk about you. Actually,
we're done with me, aren't we?
Oh, okay. Well, let's move on.
Busy.
Let's move on.
I'm very busy.
You're busy. That's what I talk about. You're very, very busy. What are you doing? You see, I don't like busy. I like to be occupied, but I don't want to be busy.
Well, I'm occupied, which makes me rather busy. I'm doing a play. I am El Gallo in the Fantastics, and we just started rehearsing.
Yes, no, but you also do something else. You wrote that you had to do mystery theater or something.
Well, I do a murder mystery at a local hotel 3 or 4 times.
You do that on top of the play.
Yeah. And that goes up this Saturday in a few days. I write a murder mystery and I hire actors.
You write the murder mystery?
Yeah, I write it, direct it, and I organize it as I pretend to be the concierge at the hotel. And the last
two. You work out all the clues and all the
pretty
props. Hard thing to do. I couldn't do that.
It's really hard to do, but it's fun, but it's very busy.
And how long do you have to make this thing to? Mike, if I wrote a play like that, the murder mystery would go something like this. Okay, the clue would be there's a sharp object on the floor. and there's a guy over there who, has blood over hands. Who did it?
People aren't going to pay $75 a head.
They pay $75 for that?
Yeah. I think it's
let me ask you something. Is this like one of his participation kind of theater thing?
Yes. I have 6. Yeah. Well, then don't come. But I sell out in 20 minutes. But I can only sell 50 tickets.
What happens in this experience is I come in, I pay money, I come in, and now what happens? Well, there's a buffet. You get fed. Oh, dinner. So you subtract that from your $75. You're going to get dinner. That's a good deal. But I send out an invitation or on the invite where people line up to become involved. They're usually period pieces. This is a movie opening, a premiere, and the producers just bought this hotel as well. That's an old hotel in Cedar Falls. You saw it, the Black Hawk Hotel. So this is 1939, and people love to dress up with hats and things. Oh, that's a lot of fun. They love it. Not everyone does, but most people do. But then I have 6 actors who play the producer and his wife, a movie star, a up and coming starlet. And so what happens? I start to mingle with the actors. Now, some of the people who come in the door, I give them a role that they don't expect, but they know they might get one. So I've got a gossip columnist, and that's just going to be someone that comes to the door. Well, some people said, I don't want to. Then I won't give them that invite. But that's happened. Right. It's happened. Yeah. Right. But most people are there to look. They're there to drink. The bar is open. I've got, after an hour and a half, 50 drunk people basically in a hotel. They don't. And they're trying to find out the answer to the murder. Right. So what happens in the one that I'm doing now, and it is interesting, is that the butler and the maid take small groups of people to rooms because it's a new hotel. I went to that place once.
We want you to see the rooms, right? Yeah. We
and
want
it was
you to
more
see
than
the rooms.
$75. I'll tell you that right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Well, what is it these days? It's $100 for.
Well, yeah, it depends if you want the if you want the maid.
I want to know, how deep can you go here, Kenny?
Just say, well, sometimes I don't. It's not a maid; it's the waitress. It depends on what.
Right. So, and not to belabor this too much, and I'm not going to give anything away, but everybody's having an affair with everybody, and the audience sort of figures out what's going on. The starlet is having an affair with the husband of the.
And I'm talking to strangers. We're discussing this.
Talking to strangers, however it comes up in conversation. There's nothing scripted. You go into a room and maybe you see a pistol sitting there and a letter saying, a letter to my dear son, tomorrow your life will be very different. Please forgive me for what, just little bits and pieces of clues.
Wow.
Two people in the bathroom.
Individually, I discover something and I turn to the group and I go, I found
You
this.
can if you want.
You can if you want.
You can. So then.
So somebody might be holding out from me?
So anything can happen. That's why I pile it full of clues. Two people will be having an argument in the bathroom and you'll hear some pieces of information about relationships. Oh, he wants to kill me. I know he does.
This is quite a production.
It is quite a production. And then there's a murder. And everybody.
Oh, the murder hasn't happened yet.
No, the murder happens. No, it has not happened yet.
Oh,
you just see these pieces.
And I'm trying to figure out the crime.
There's this drama going on of who's zooming who around here. Then there's a murder. Everybody then goes to their individual
Is there a
groups.
scream?
There can be a scream. In this case, it's going to be gunshots.
And
a dramatic death. And then everybody goes to their group, and that group has clues.
I would evacuate. I
don't think you're going to work in any way.
No,
with this
I would say
Kenny runs.
It is gunshots. Get out of here. Well, yeah,
Yes.
I'm not. First of all, I'm not into the whole participation theater thing.
Well, you don't have to participate, but you are going to be in a group to try to figure it out because everybody in the group gets a night in the hotel and a prize and $50 gift
but
ticket.
what about the person who figures out the crime?
Well, that's the group.
I mean,
every
group. Oh, it's a
group.
group.
Yes.
Oh, it's groups.
And that group has an ambassador that can go to the other group, say, what are you learning?
You.
And then they figure it out. They have a relatively short time and then we get drunk.
Wow.
It's a lot of fun.
Sounds fun. Now, have you done escape rooms? That's another one of those things.
I'm afraid of escape rooms. I don't like to be in any room, even if it's the object is to get out and you know that you're going to get out. It makes me claustrophobic. The thought, my kids love them. I can't do it.
Yeah, no, we did it once and it's fun for the people in the room. I just don't feel so incredibly motivated to do it because I figure somebody's going to figure out how we're going to get out. And even if we can't get out, somebody has to open the door. Otherwise, I'm getting an attorney. I mean,
what do you do then? Find a chair in the room?
Yeah, basically.
Sit there.
I'm not a participant kind of guy. You know what I can't stand, Gary? I'll tell you another thing I can't stand. When I go to see like a concert and I paid like $200 and the person up there singing goes, everybody sing along. I just paid $200.
I did not pay $250 to hear Paul McCartney hear other people singing "Hey Jude." I'm with you 100%.
Okay, yeah, that gets me.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's quite a busy.
And I keep busy. I do my lecture.
Does somebody
tours.
play the dead person? Do we get to see the body of the dead person?
Not only in this particular one does the dead person die. Yes, they see them and they fall down the stairs dramatically, and then they're carried backstage. That person is going to change clothes and come in the front door as their twin sister who arrived late. So immediately that's I plant lots of red herrings.
Do you know, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong. Well, actually don't, because I like it. Even if I'm wrong, I don't want to be.
I've heard that. I know. Yeah,
so
I get angry.
There's a TV show, I think, starring a lot of celebrities who are now going to be doing that. Like a reality TV
mysteries?
Show. Yeah.
Well, I should throw my hat in that ring.
Yeah, you should. You should get that hat. Yeah.
I should get that hat. Well, I think that I'm getting pretty good at it. And
wow.
They want a different one, every few months. Halloween, I'll do a murder mystery in a haunted hotel. It's fun.
I'm telling you, you had me. I had
you.
Pretty fascinating. Pretty fascinating.
You know what else is in the news, Kenneth? Did you see the video that's gone viral? The Michigan Senator.
Yes.
Mallory
I saw the
McMorrow.
speech last night.
How fantastic was that?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I think I think it propelled her into a national limelight. I think it.
And you know, her opponent, Lana Theis.
Really?
Well, Senator Lana Theis, to raise money, made the accusation that Senator McMarrow is a pedophile because she supports the LGBTQ community, that she's against the Parents' Rights Amendment and things like that to raise money. Well, I'll bet you McManus, and this wasn't her intention, but I'll bet you she's been raising a lot of money because I sent her $50 today.
Oh, okay.
I'll bet a lot of people.
No, I think
are going. You know what?
I think a star is born.
Yeah, she is the voice. She articulated all of the issues so perfectly, and I'm going, wow. I've been trying to do that for years.
Well,
she
it's
had
also
4
interesting,
minutes, and she nailed it.
Interesting that I'm surprised, even from the regular Christian community, that I mean, she spoke so well about. We talk about all this Christian values. You go and sit in the pews in church, and I'm helping out at a soup kitchen. Who's the better Christian?
Well, you can't argue with her there. You can't.
I mean, couldn't, but I'm saying that I'm surprised you don't hear more people in the.
Well, because that's my point. No one can object to that. And what she said, as you actually said, was my mother was accused of being a bad Christian by the parish, who had said you're not in the pew every Sunday. Well, we're at a soup kitchen doing what Christians are supposed to do. Doesn't that constitute? There's no way you can say no. You need to sit in the pew.
Right.
You know, there's no way to argue with that. She made the perfect, concise argument for human rights against.
Well,
this.
if you post this on Facebook, or if we took live, you would have somebody that would want to qualify it and quantify it. These conversations that we get into, you know, it's so frustrating, because it's like it seems so like obvious. But even I'm getting to the point where we're just beating the same old theme over and over again. Would you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I used to keep about 6 conservative friends from business world on my Facebook page, and they would provide what you just said, like, no, well, you know what, and that would inform me, okay, this is what the opposition, this is where they go. Recently, I've just got, after 10 years of that, so fed up, I purged. I purged those voices, and now I don't hear them. So now I am preaching to the choir.
Yeah,
everybody basically.
That's all we are. Yeah, that's all we're doing.
So I don't know that I move the needle, but when I see something like that, and you know, $50 was nothing, I'll probably give more.
Oh no, it's fantastic.
But if others do that,
the question I think that we have to wonder is, all you read about is how the Democrats are going to get slammed in the midterm, and what are we going to do about Biden in 3 years from now?
Well, he's indicated that he's going to run again, and
that would make him how old?
Well, that's what they're going to. Well, he's 78 now, I believe.
Okay,
so he would be 85. Well, I don't do the math. I mean, it's 3 years from now.
Yeah.
So he'd be well into his 80s.
Yeah,
past
so
the mid-mark.
There's definitely, and I think a lot of the people who are moving into the Democratic Party or the Progressive Party or the Independents are young people.
Well,
and I think I think that we need to really get that part of the population.
Do you see any up and coming stars? Castro? I mean, do you see anybody that you'd get behind?
Well, at this point, the woman who said she's a conservative Christian suburban mom, she sounded great to me.
Well, she's just a state senator. Usually don't make that leap. But
Obama came out of nowhere.
But he was a senator as well, though. I mean, he was a state senator. Then he was, went to Congress, or at Capitol Hill. That would be too big a leap, I think. But I think she's an emerging star for sure.
Yeah, no, I think it is. Is there somebody that you think that
no
is plausible? That's the thing.
No, I really like Castro. I met him, but I just not sure the weight is there yet. He's, I don't know, but that's what they say is we're going to get slaughtered in the midterms, and then all these things like the Parents' Rights Amendment are going to become a reality. I always laugh at people who say, well, you know what, I'll leave the country. And they never do. But my wife and I, because we're looking at retirement. Well, I am anyway, and she's not, but still, she can work from anywhere. So we start to look around like, well, where do we want to live? First of all, it can't be a nuclear target. We actually think about things like that. And I got to move to Omaha. Where are the values and healthcare system that can take care of us? Portugal, you know, I mean,
actually, yeah, those kind of places. Portugal is one that I hear about all the time.
Yeah, but is there a place in the United States where we can kind of get off the grid? I don't know. I don't know
either, but yes, listen, I don't think anybody, it's hard for me. The anchor that keeps me any place is being close to my daughter and my son, and
of course.
Grandchildren. So if, hopefully they're not going to be, moving someplace stupid.
Like Waterloo.
Well, no, I didn't say that. No, like, I don't know. I don't want to insult someone.
Well, whatever. Right. No, I understand. And I don't mean to insult Waterloo. But I live here.
But
I love many things.
I've been to Oklahoma. I don't know.
The wind didn't come rustling down the plains.
No. So anyhow,
corn wasn't as high as.
So that's my anchor. So I don't really think about where I'm going.
Well, you've often said, Kenny, you live in the United States of California. So you're, in a way,
right. You're somewhat that is helpful.
Immune to the crazy.
Yeah, but every place is, yes, that is true. Hey, listen, even if whatever's horrible going on in the world, whatever's terrible going on in California, at least the weather's nice. So if you have a catastrophe, and I think I might have mentioned when we had the Northridge earthquake, it was terrible. And I don't want to belittle the
but the weather was nice.
But it was a nice day. It was 75 degrees and sunny. I saw people putting their golf carts in their trunks. I mean, we had a horrible earthquake. Everybody, the freeway came down, but it was still 75 degrees. It was
75. The wind came out of the west.
Yeah, it was fine.
I get that, but we have tornadoes. Although I've never experienced a tornado. I like the seasons, Kenny. I appreciate my spring, summer, and fall so much. Precisely,
but what I like about California is that if I want to go to your winter,
you can.
It's a 2-hour. Car ride, and I'm up in the mountains and there's snow.
Well, look, I lived there for 20 years, and right. I loved
it's the fact that you can visit almost any geography, within a day. That's what's so wonderful. So you would have to leave your state to want to find a beach.
And at the same time, I can leave my state and find a beach. I can vacation to anywhere, but I enjoy the seasons. I enjoy 33% less cost of living.
Yeah.
And that's serious. I do enjoy the neighborliness. I mean, it's not like California is not neighborly, but we're not neighborly. We're all fenced in. I can't see a fence around me.
Let me ask you something. Do you have a gardener for your big giant lawn?
No, because I was going to interject when you said you swim.
Yeah.
I garden. I take care of my lawn. I mow the lawn. That is my swimming. It's exercise. I clear my brain. I write my articles.
Fantastic.
Takes me 3 hours.
Well, if I had a lawn, I'd ask you to come over.
You'd have to pay me. Would you pay me? What would you pay me? $50 an hour?
I don't see, but out here in California, we did like a lot of people did is we converted our lawns to drought resistant plants. Sure. So I don't have a lawn. We just have, I guess, would be shrubbery.
Shrubbery. You have some shrubbery. When I lived in LA, I had a pool. It was the house that Comic Strip Live built, and I had a pool. And then the show was over, and I had a bad year following that, and I let the pool man go. Right. He didn't like that I let him go, and he put manure into my filtration system.
That's horrible.
Horrible.
What kind of sick human being?
Cost me hundreds of dollars.
Wait, did you ever able to confront this individual with this?
No, I never saw them again. But it was very obvious. I mean,
wow, I'm not liking my pool guy, but now I'm never.
Well, the point is, they don't want to be fired. I'm not going to mention
anything.
No, they don't want to be fired.
Yeah, apparently.
They don't want to be let go.
Yeah,
they will do something nasty.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So just a word of warning. There's lots of perks there, but
even I do have a gardener here. And these are things that when I was a kid growing up, the only rich people had gardeners. I'm not rich, but out in California, there's so many, and not to be, but the truth of the matter is we live so close to Mexico, and so many people from Central America come up. They have agriculture backgrounds.
Yeah.
And they do that. And a lot of the things they do is they open up gardening businesses because, so we have, I mean, in my neighborhood right now, there are probably 3 dozen. I think there's one gardener. I mean, there's probably 2 gardeners for every household that's comes in here. So it makes it inexpensive. And I don't know how they make a living because they all have to undercut each other as far as price is concerned.
Well, sure, they do.
Yeah.
Now, so you have somebody doing your shrubbery. There is no.
This is what they do.
Thumb.
And they came, you didn't hear it, but they come, they just have the leaf blower.
Yeah.
So really what they do is they just, and you hear it all in my neighborhood the whole day long. The sound of leaf blowers.
Where are they blown to? Just out onto the street?
No, they will blow them to the side of the house. And at that point, that's when the rake comes in.
The rate?
The rake.
Oh, the rake.
You're from Iowa. You should have.
Oh, yeah.
It's a long stick.
The rate. I thought I thought you said they set a rate once they show. It's like a cattle show. Once they show this much leaf baggage, it's going to cost you $75.
Huh. Well, that's a different way, the type of business.
Right.
I don't think.
But that's when the rake comes in.
The rake. They come in the rake and they rake it up and then they put it in the disposal. And it takes, a little time, but that's that noise. And, they're going to do it. And I think it's 2023 or 4, somewhere in the future.
The noise reduction? They're going to outlaw them?
They're going to outlaw the gas powered blowers.
Yeah.
So that they only have to do electric.
Yeah.
Which would be a really nice relief because that's all I hear all day long is the sound of leaf
much quieter and of course much more environmentally sound.
Right.
I mean, it's a good idea. Those are the things that we progressives do that many people on the right are annoyed by. Yeah. But we're just trying to make things more livable, cleaner.
Mm-hmm. Well, they just see it as an infringement on their
regulations.
It's an infringement on their individual choice. They want
like the federal judge,
right? They want
saying
the choice.
No more masks on airplanes. Yeah. I have no problem for an hour and a half wearing a mask when the guy next to me is sneezing anyway. I'm happy to have. I think that we should wear masks forever on airplanes.
Oh, that's where I disagree. I'm gonna.
You're a non-masker on an airplane?
What was the woman, what was she claiming, who insulted you on Facebook? What was she saying?
Well, I was narcissistic.
Yeah. And yeah. And what else?
And oblivious to traumatized children.
Yes. And that's why I support masks on planes. I mean,
no, I support masks.
No. I take that back. And that's why I support choice on planes.
Well, but if there's a choice, you might as well not be masked because if there's one person,
that's not true. Everybody has their own health issues, or whether they live with somebody who might be immunocompromised. Right. So it's an individual story. And the reason that I feel this way is that a large part of, not a large part, the greatest risk or thing that happened with the pandemic was how many people had not only died, but how the hospital system and the health workers were completely overwhelmed.
Yes.
And that was a horrible thing. And you have to put on a mask just because you can't overwhelm the system. The ripple effect of that is just horrible. Well, I understand there's a variant out there and I understand it's spreading, but I don't care about who's catching it. All I care about is what's happening to the healthcare system. And right now, as much as, yes, you do have a spreading of the variant, the healthcare system has gone way down. The number of hospitalizations has gone almost down to like the first pre-COVID days.
Right.
So as long as the healthcare system is, once they tell me that, hey, we can't take any more patients.
We don't have the beds, no more patients. Right. Okay. But
our healthcare system
variant, isn't the potential there that this could spread like crazy and fast?
Right. And there's a lag time. So what happens is as these things happen, they usually see a week or 2. Now, in certain instances, like in California, we have been mask free for probably 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
And at that, they consider that the lag time, that now that would, by this time now you'd start to see the uptick in hospitalizations. And that's what I'm kind of watching and paying attention to.
All right.
And so far,
well, if we had pulled the trigger in the beginning sooner,
deaths are down.
Deaths are down. If we'd pulled the trigger sooner with these restrictions, regulations, back when someone was president, and not denied it for so long, we probably could have contained the initial exponential spread.
Hey, listen, all of those things.
We have vaccinations now,
and
they're improving.
I was listening to the news last night, and the way they tell stories, it's kind of, instead of talking about, okay, here's what the new rules are on the mask. They to explain that in certain cases where you can wear a mask, where you can't mask. The entire report on the pandemic was about people are confused about the mask. Everybody, we talked to people. Some people didn't know what the mask rules were. And they went on, who's done? And then they talked to a specialist and go, we don't get the right information. We're all confused. Everybody's confused. And I'm thinking, maybe you should tell people what the rules are. Instead of just complaining about.
They're reporting on a story they created by not reporting on a story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're creating reporting on the mania of disinformation.
Yeah.
Whereas all they should have done is give the information.
Yeah. Why is everybody confused? And when I hear it's explained to me, it's like, I get that. I understand.
Get that.
Yeah.
Well, again, I trace it all back to 1998 and the creation of Fox News. Once news became sensationalized, and once news had an agenda and got huge numbers, then everybody jumps on the bandwagon to compete. Right. So it's
they say sensationalism. That negative news gets better numbers.
It's all sensationalism.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it's false equivalence to say MSNBC is just as bad coming from the left as Fox. No. If you look at the percentages of truth, yes, they editorialize with a slant or favor progressive ideas at MSNBC, but they don't tell the volume of lies that they tell over here.
You know what?
At Fox.
I use in comparing that when people talk about the different news agencies,
NPR,
or anything, is that in every study, in every profession, there's things called peer reviewed. If you're a doctor, there are peer reviewed medical, and if you're whatever profession, doesn't matter. There are organizations that have over the years are the experts in that particular thing. And there are experts in journalism. There's many peer reviewed, whether or not it's Harvard Journalism School or this college journalism school or whatever it is, that over the years they have developed incredible, become the expert, the credibility, non-biased. They have to be believed. At some point, we have to believe. Just so we have to believe scientists. You just can't this more. So these people in journalism, these peer review organizations have given out awards to certain news agencies across the years, from the London Times to the Wall Street things, whatever. And the reason that it's considered real is because these are peer reviews. These are the people in the business who know it. Now that I've driven that point home, how many peer review awards has Fox News ever gotten?
I would hope none.
Not one. Now, the other organizations, MSNBC, CNN, CBS News, NBC News, ABC News, BBC Radio, NPR, they've all received journalistic awards for excellence. So why wouldn't I believe them?
Well, you make my case.
I made your case.
Speaking of making a case, I want to plug, folks, Kenny and I have gone without a guest today because we actually enjoy talking to each other, as hopefully you've enjoyed listening to us talk to each other. But we do have a guest next week. I'd love to plug John Poveromo, stand-up comic, but a writer and a cartoonist as well. And he has a podcast, not dissimilar to this, called Dystopia Tonight.
And that's a good title. That's a better title than we have.
It's a great title. Yeah. And they have tremendous guests on the show. And, we'll talk to them about how we.
Well, you're just saying that because you were on the show.
Yeah, I was on the show, but I think they want you on the show. I think they'd love if we both did the show.
Really?
Yeah. Me? I think we personified dystopia.
Okay.
the struggle, the hopeless.
Hey, listen, I'm the poster boy for dystopia.
Anyway, he's on the show next week, but it's just me and Kenny this week.
Well, what else is happening in your world?
Well, my world is very sober. I mean,
that's one of your problems right there. If I could drill right down and nail the problem of your issue that you're having, it's being sober.
Well, here's the irony, and that somebody accuses me of not caring about traumatized children. I'm a court-appointed special advocate for abused children.
Wow.
And I'm doing a luncheon next week to recruit more people to be CASAs like myself, to look out after kids in the foster care system.
Oh,
so that keeps me very busy.
But that's got to be depressing.
Oh, it's depressing when you hear the story of why a child was taken
Well,
from
do
their
you
home.
see a child, a bruised
Of
child?
course.
You see
yes.
children who are bruised from this.
Yeah.
Wow, the horror of that is unbelievable.
Yes, but you know that horror going in. That's why they're removed from their homes, and that's why you're called into service.
Well, I get that, but visually being in a room with a poor child that you see who's bruised and beaten, you must want to like hug them all.
Well, you do want to. You do want to. But my point is,
but then
that's where you also find.
But then you would be accused of being a pedophile.
That you find the satisfaction, which isn't depressing, in helping them coordinate their lives with the school, their doctors, their foster parents. And
did they appreciate? Did they come over and hug you and say,
they don't know what's going? It depends on the age. I've got a child that's 4 and I have one that's 17. But they don't know what my job is, except to put eyeballs on them and be this friendly face that they see.
A stalker guy. It's like a weirdo white guy in the corner there looking at them.
You are taking this in such a southern direction.
I'm just concerned about the pedophile thing that's going to come up.
I just know it is. Eyeballs on my kids.
Oh, you put eyeballs on your kids now?
At least once.
I'm sorry.
And I help DHS and I help the guardian ad litem to just make sure that this child is being protected now, and that they have plans for, they're in concurrent situations, and you're looking for permanence. You're looking for a permanent home for these children.
I was trying to think, is it appropriate? I don't want you don't need to answer, but I was going to ask you, is there a situation that you just was the worst, most horrific that just you couldn't?
Well,
don't tell it. Don't tell it.
I can't give details. I'm sworn to secrecy, to basically only say what I've said so far. But I can tell you, I've seen abused children. Yeah, I've seen children that were physically abused, and the innocence of them is astonishing, because they didn't ask for that.
Now, what are the chances that if they get removed, how quickly would they make it into another home, or are they?
Well, it's generally about a year process. Sometimes they move from foster home to foster home. Not every foster family can take them for an indefinite period of time. You're always looking for the permanency situation, and you hope. I'm just eyes and ears for the judge. I'm not really.
Can you be a foster parent?
No. I work for the judge in the court, who says to me, Gary, you are unbiased in this situation. The DHS has a report. You have a report. Guardian ad litem has a report. What are your impressions here of what's going on? That's who I answer to. You want to put them back with their birth home. You want to put them back with their mother and their father.
Oh, but you hear the stories. Why would you want to?
Well, you won't, unless they do the work that's necessary and prove through counseling and whatever.
But my goodness, how many stories have we heard? And I know it's probably the minority, way down the minority. But how many stories have we heard that? And the home services or whatever, the children's department decided that it would be okay for them to return to their parents, and then you hear the tragedy.
Well, that does happen. Now, in Iowa, we have, it varies from state to state. It varies from county to county. Here in Iowa, we have a very, very conscientious program with DHS and the court system. You don't hear about that very much. We're so focused on what is the right environment. Is the parent doing the work? Can they handle the work? It's not easy. I mean,
let me ask you something. What is the economic range? Is it all scale or no?
It's poverty has its own pathology, and generally speaking, they're poorer homes, but it can happen anywhere. I mean, I don't need to say that. Everybody knows it's not about economics. Economics don't lead to it, but poverty can create paradigms that are difficult for families to endure. Nobody has eyes on the kids. Everybody's working. it becomes hereditary sometimes. Poverty. This is how you viewed your parents, and that's how you structure your life. And it repeats.
Now you're able to shake. Once you leave there, you're able to shake this off and go do your musical theater
and go do my murder mystery. Yes and no. Yes and no. Sometimes it's very upsetting when you see.
It's upsetting to me just listening to this. It really is. I mean, it's anything that happens to children and animals, basically, right?
I'm with you 100%, which is why I do it. But I am able to compartmentalize.
I wish I was that good of a person.
You are that good of a person. You just have to decide you want to do it. I can compartmentalize my life. I can get in my car, and I might, I drive an hour sometimes to see my kids, 2 hours to come back. And I take that time to decompress so that when I get home, I can write my murder mystery or my left-wing article for the newspaper or talk to Kenny Seisler.
Well, I don't know, but I do not. So you talked about, you don't make everybody happy. I think you make a lot of people happy.
Well,
I mean, doing what you
I do think I make a lot of people happy.
Yeah.
It's just that I sometimes wonder if I set up some notion of myself that I'm, such a good person that when I make these little criticisms of Mel Gibson, some people go, "Oh, Gary, we thought you were so wonderful, and now I see that you're just an asshole like everybody else."
Well,
it doesn't happen often.
No,
but it sits with me a little bit.
Don't you think we're all assholes like everybody else?
I think we're all certainly capable of being assholes.
Just like everybody else.
Just like everybody. Sometimes we can be stupid and fix furniture above our head.
Yeah. So my asshole yesterday was I went to return an Amazon product, and it was supposed to go to UPS store and only to a UPS store. But my wife sent me to this place called the Postal Annex over here. And so I went in there and I said, and I saw signs all FedEx didn't say UPS. So I said, "Oh, can you guys take UPS?" And he said, and I don't want to do his accent because whatever, it's not the point. But he goes, "No, we can't do UPS." Oh, okay. Hey, is there a UPS store around here nearby? Google it.
Yeah. Right.
Google it. That's your answer?
Right. I've had the same experience. There's a lot of friction between those mail companies.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of friction. Maybe they get asked that question all the time and they get annoyed. And it's like, you know what? Why didn't you do the homework before you burden me with even your simple question? I'm not forgiving him, but I'm guessing that it happens a lot. Okay. So anyway, well, Kenneth, it's been a joy talking to you. I enjoy these shows as much as I enjoy our guests.
I do too. You know why? Because we have guests on and they do a lot of the talking.
Yeah, but it's not as much about us.
Yeah,
I don't get to talk about the people who hate me.
Yeah,
things like that, and your head wound. Yeah. All right, well, folks, thank you so much for watching the Gary and Kenny Show. You can find us on all the popular podcast platforms. We also have a YouTube channel. We'd love it if you went to the Gary and Kenny Show and hit subscribe. Also, we are on DBNA streaming television. So if you want to find us, we're certainly easy to find. Thanks for watching.
Please find us.
Please find us. So, Kenneth, I enjoyed that. All right.
All right, buddy.
Later, Kenneth. Bye.
Bye.